Oh, somebody's getting delivered this Freedom Friday. Taking no record of wrong in marriage is a weapon that is mighty through God. It does you well because then now all of a sudden you're no longer bitter. But it does the other person well because all of a sudden they are less judgmental. They're also giving you a room, allowing you room to grow as well in freedom. Do you know one of the best marriages are marriages where people give each other enough space to be wrong without feeling like it's going to be used against them for the next year? Those are some of the most healthiest marriages where you know you can get something wrong and you are not going to be persecuted for it. Where you can be human, and know that it's not going to be weaponized against you. Where you know your spouse is not taking a record of wrong. Where you know you can be given enough freedom and liberty to just be wrong, because guess what? We're going to get some stuff wrong. Where somebody shows you in your most strongest of moments, in the moments where you do something, I made a wrong decision, I made a dumb decision, I'm sorry. And in those moments, you are loved the hardest. You don't even need to ask that woman to submit. When you are loving her through her trauma, when you are loving her through her pain, when you are loving her through her past disappointments that now all of a sudden are finding ways to find expression in your marriage. You didn't cause the hurt, but you have a responsibility to love her into a place where she is comfortable enough to trust you. Love takes no record of wrong. The places I remember the most in my marriage when I was loved is when I was loved and I didn't deserve to be loved. When I was loved and I didn't deserve to be loved. I didn't deserve it, but I was loved anyways. I was loved even harder when I didn't even deserve to be loved. The Bible says love endures all things. It's a weapon of warfare. To be able to be in a space where you say, listen, your edges are hurting. Please fix these urges. Please fix this sharp edges of yours because they are hurting us in this marriage. But while we're at it, I'm going to trust God that He's going to give me and the strength to carry the weight of the season. Some people right now who are married will tell you they've been through those type of seasons in their marriage. Where it was painful, it wasn't easy. But the Bible says love endures all things. We're living in a generation where if people show the smallest bit of humanity, people quickly say, I ain't the girl. I'm walking away. People quickly start throwing around the divorce word. Prayer governors, it seems as though the weapons become mighty when they go through God. God gives you advice on how to handle a certain situation and it feels like weakness to you. But if you allow it to go through God, these weapons, there's a version that says they're mighty in God. There's a perspective you find when you are in God concerning certain weapons that God gives you that you can only find in Him. If you don't see the transaction of the weapon leaving your dimension to enter into the dimension of God, where it becomes mighty, you will always think you are weak in the moment. So it seems as though this weapon has to move from the physical dimension to enter into the dimension of God for it to become mighty. Unless you have the ability to know that this feels so weak right now. I feel like this person is taking advantage of me right now. I feel like somebody who doesn't know how to stand up for themselves right now. If you don't know how to be patient enough to allow a weapon to go through God, to step out of this dimension and to enter into a dimension where God is, where it becomes mighty. If you don't have the patience, the surrender to allow yourself to feel a certain way in that moment and just allow it to be, for God to do the vindicating, for God to do the fighting, for God to do the very thing He can do with that weapon of warfare that is not carnal. You will never fully understand the joy of using a weapon of warfare that is mighty through God.